Welcome, y'all, to Michael Romeo Talks Books. That's my channel. I'm Michael Romeo, and I do the talking about books. And before we go further with it's a book haul, y'all. I want to take a moment to thank all my new subscribers. I've had a burst of energy on here on the channel, and it's wonderful to have so many new people popping up and deciding to subscribe to my channel. That says a lot to me that I'm doing something right. And if you haven't subscribed yet, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because you do get notifications whenever I do a video like this, because I do have an erratic schedule, and it's free. And anything free is good, right? Anyway, doing a book haul, y'all. And I've had quite a book haul here, and with the exception of one book, all of them tie into my passion for 20th century literature. And yeah, and I think I did good here. And there's some stuff that I'm familiar with, some stuff that I've read and lost along the way. There is some stuff that I've never heard of before. So let's get with it. Starting out, I am a fan of the Jason Bourne movies. Yes, I like action, adventure, over the top, totally unbelievable car crashes and all that other stuff. And I love the stuff. And we've got The Bourne Identity, book number 1 in that series. I've read this one before. I read it back when I was very young, when this one first came out. And I can tell just from what I remember of this book and what I know of the movie, that I'm assuming all the movies are the same, that they don't follow the book exactly, but they're still good movies. But I really wanted to see what the original stories were like, and starting again with the reread of The Bourne Identity, because it has been a long time and I haven't retained everything that was in the book that would be important to remember. So, Bourne Identity, followed by, coming up, The Bourne Supremacy, which I've never read. I've not read this one. Oh, hold on a second. TARDIS has something to say. What does TARDIS have to say? Oh, she's telling on her sister who's getting into trouble. Toffee! Toffee, get down. Good girl. Okay, now that drama is over. Okay, Bourne Supremacy. Followed by the third one of the original trilogy, The Bourne Ultimatum. These suckers are heavy. The Bourne Ultimatum, and they're chunkers, right? At least they look like chunkers. They may be... yeah, 608 pages. Yeah, that's a chunker. Yeah. Bourne Supremacy. So the original Bourne trilogy. And then I can say I finally read them all. Then it goes on to there's the Bourne books. I forget how many of them Ludlum actually wrote himself, and at what point it went on to Erich von Lustbader writing them, because Robert Ludlum died. And while I'm not a big fan of that happening, you know, an author dies and another writer takes over a series, in this case I think it would be okay, because Erich von Lustbader is a good writer. So I'm trusting that they'll be just as good. Anyway, next up, cashing in on my growing obsession with learning about the Vietnam War, here's a novel called Rumor of War. A Rumor of War. And what captured me about this is, and is this a chunker? No, this is not a chunker. This is a short book. What captured me about it was in the description. It talks about, written from the viewpoint of a soldier on the first load of troops heading into Vietnam. Therefore, there's been no news stories about what's happening. There's been um, no foreknowledge about what these soldiers were going into. So I'm assuming that when they got there it was like a real shock. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what something written in that viewpoint is like. So the first troops going in, not knowing what they were getting themselves into. Rumor of war. Oh, who's the author? The author, Philip Caputo. Philip Caputo is the author. Right there. And then we've got the first book in a long series of mysteries by Ian Rankin. It's called Knots and Crosses. And it is the Detective Sergeant John Rebus mystery series. And the reason I got this one is, I work in a hotel, and people leave things behind all the time. One of the things that get left behind a lot is books. And I am known as the book collector at work. And somebody left behind an Ian Rankin book. And I looked at it and read the back of it. I said, oh, that sounds really interesting. Let's get that one. And it wasn't until I got home and with the book, and I saw the page of other books written in the series. Here's a lot of them. And I had like book number 20. It's what I had. So I said, well, at some point I've got to start at square one, because I don't like reading a series out of order. So here's the first book in the series. I can finally start it and catch up to that book that I got at work. That is from the same series. Knots and Crosses. And this one just sounds really intriguing. And in Edinburgh, of all places, I mean, you never think of that sort of thing happening in Edinburgh, do you? That sort of thing is the brutal abduction and murder of 2 young girls, and now a third is missing, presumably gone to the same end. Detective Sergeant John Rebus, smoking and drinking too much, his own young daughter spirited away south by his disenchanted wife, is one of many policemen hunting the killer. And then the messages begin to arrive, knotted string and matchstick crosses, taunting Rebus with pieces of a puzzle only he can solve. I love that kind of mystery. And then, you all know that I started reading the, it's called The Change series, the dystopian, being thrust back to having to live like people in the Middle Ages because all of technology has gone dead. And I read the first one, which was Dies the Fire, which was excellent. And I've got the second one, which is The Protector's War, which is on my list. I'm probably going to hit it in September. And prepared for when that one's done, I got book number 3, Tears of the Sun. And reading on the back of it, looks like we've traveled some time here, because we're dealing with a character who was an infant in the book I just finished, who is now an adult doing stuff. And it's another chunker. It's almost 700 pages. And I love chunkers. I love big books. Do you know that about me? Of course you know it about me, because you subscribe to my channel and you watch. I do love a good chunker. I love to get lost in another world. And Trappist, I'm talking here. Hey, you two, what's up with you? I might think there was somebody outside or something. There's nobody out there. Okay, so Tears of the Sun, book 3 of the S.M. Sterling series called The Change. And I'm really looking forward to finding out where these stories are going, because book 1, Dies the Fire, was left with so many ways it could go. And I'm putting my trust in this author to lead me into a good long series that's really good. And oh my goodness, my hair. Oh, why didn't you tell me? And I used to be a fan of reading plays, and I've gotten away from it, and I wanted to get back to reading it. Especially since there seems to be a trend lately in the local theater community to do stuff that is very contemporary, and even stuff that's new. And I like classic plays. I like the ones that are proven over time to be awesome. So I got a couple to read since I can't go see them anymore because nobody puts them on. I got a couple to read. So I got Tennessee Williams's The Glass Menagerie. I got, does that fit better like that? No, that doesn't. Anyway, there we go. It's Glass Menagerie. I think I've got the camera a little too close. By Tennessee Williams. And it's I'm not sure what this one's about. I've never read this one. I've never seen it performed, but it's Tennessee Williams. It has to be good because Tennessee Williams is just phenomenal. Say anything about it on here? This is just talking about the history of the play itself, not really what it's about. So anyway, I'll have to read it and report back on what it's about. Or maybe you know what it's about and you can tell me in the comments. Comments. You know I like comments. You knew that. Another Tennessee Williams. This one I love. I have seen the movie version. Oh, and I didn't notice this when I picked it up. Oh, what a great surprise with an introduction by Edward Alby. Edward Alby wrote my favorite play of all time, which is Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, which the used bookstore did not have a copy of. But that's great that he wrote the introduction to this, and I get to read something by Alby while I'm at it. Awesome. I love Edward Alby. Anyway, this is Tennessee Williams again, Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, drama in a Southern family, and great story. If you haven't never seen the movie, see the movie. Classic actors. It has Paul Newman. It has Elizabeth Taylor, Burl Ives. Great cast. And just a great story. And it's one where it's funny. I used to want to play when I was into theater, and I never did theater because I never had the guts to do theater, but I always imagined in my head doing theater. And when I was younger, I wanted to play Brick, who is the young son, not young son, son in his, I guess, 30s. And now I see myself playing Big Daddy, because Big Daddy is a little bit older, and Big Daddy is married to Big Mama, and yeah, so I'd probably be playing Big Daddy by now, because Big Daddy. And then I replaced another book that's gone missing. I may have lent it to somebody and never gotten it back, but here we go with the Poisonwood Bible. Oh, folks, if you haven't read this book, you don't know what you're missing. I want to read it again. It was so good. And even though it looks like a chunker, it's 543 pages. Is that a chunker? I don't know. But Poisonwood Bible is an amazing novel. Amazing. I'm going to read from the back of it here. The Poisonwood Bible is a story told by the wife and 4 daughters of Nathan Price, a fierce evangelical Baptist who takes his family and mission to the Belgian Congo in 1959. They carry with them everything they believe they will need from home, and soon find that all of it, from garden seeds to scripture, is calamitously transformed on African soil. What follows is a suspenseful epic of one family's tragic undoing and remarkable reconstruction over the course of 3 decades in post-colonial Africa. The novel is set against one of the most dramatic political chronicles of the 20th century, the Congo's fight for independence from Belgium. The murder of its first elected prime minister, the CIA coup to install his replacement, and the insidious progress of a world economic order that robs the fledgling African nation of its autonomy. Taking its place alongside the classic works of post-colonial literature, this ambitious novel establishes Kingsalver as one of the most thoughtful and daring of modern writers. And oh, that doesn't begin to tell the story. It is such a good book, guys. Read. If you haven't read it, read it. It is good book. It should have, in my opinion, won the Pulitzer Prize. I know it was shortlisted for the Pulitzer Prize. In my opinion, it should have won. Should still. Go back and do it later, And because I've enjoyed that one so much, and I've never read anything else by Barbara Kingsolver, I decided to get another Barbara Kingsolver book called, Flight Behavior. And this is one on the back. It just has critical reviews. It's got, for those that get excited about such things, it's got French flaps. And it says, Delarobia Turnbow is a restless farm wife who gave up her own plans when she accidentally became pregnant at 17. Now, after a decade of domestic disharmony on a failing farm, she seeks momentary escape through an obsessive flirtation with a younger man. She hikes up a mountain road behind her house toward a secret tryst, but instead encounters a shocking sight. A silent, forested valley filled with what looks like a lake of fire. She can only understand it as a cautionary miracle, but it sparks a raft of other explanations from scientists, religious leaders, and the media. The bewildering emergency draws rural farmers into unexpected acquaintance with urbane journalists, opportunists, sightseers, and a striking biologist with his own stake in the outcome. It sounded good, and I have confidence in it because of Poisonwood Bible. So we'll see. Oh, it's also got, what do they call that? Where the pages aren't the same length. There's a term for that, and I'm drawing a blank on it. Tell me what that is, please, in the comments, because I will go crazy trying to remember what that's called. And then it'll have to be like, 4 o'clock in the morning when I'm at work. I'll have to call my wife and say, I got it. I remember what it's called. And she'll be so impressed with that. And then a book I've wanted to read for a long time is Ragtime by E.L. Doctorow. I've wanted to read this for a while. Never got around to it. And, we've talked about... on BookTube, I've heard many comments about movie tie-in covers. Well, in this case, we've got a Broadway tie-in cover because it says the classic novel, now a magnificent musical. Okay. I've heard excerpts from it. The musical. It's okay. It's no Les Miserables. But... welcome to the turn of the century America, where Scott Joplin's Ragtime sets. Let's start that again, okay? Welcome to turn of the century America, where Scott Joplin's Ragtime sets the beat and passionate vitality sets the tone. Harry Houdini astounds audiences with feats of magic escape, while J.P. Morgan rules the world of finance like a Roman emperor. Emma Goldman preaches revolution, free love, and feminism. Henry Ford builds cars by turning men into machines. And a beautiful ex-chorus girl named Evelyn Nesbit sparks the murder of a great architect by a mad millionaire. These real-life characters mingle with a Lower East Side Jewish peddler, a black musician from Harlem, and a rebellious young middle-class wasp in the classic E.L. Doctorow novel that weaves a spellbinding story into a vibrant mosaic of a time, a place, and a people losing their innocence and giving birth to an age when anything and everything goes. E.L. Doctorow, Ragtime. It's another one that was shortlisted for the Pulitzer Prize, and we'll see how it is. I'm flipping through it, and it's like, wow, there's like no dialogue in this thing. This is just all narrative. Okay. Yeah, like literally, there is no dialogue in this thing. Okay, well, we'll see what happens. And then I got a book, never heard of it before in my life, but I'm familiar with the author, Philip Jose Farmer. Oh, look at that sticker. I hate it when they do that. Oh, it's not going to come off easy either. I'll fix that later. Put my finger over it. Philip Jose Farmer. And the book is The Green Odyssey. And it sounded really quirky. Philip Jose Farmer wrote a book that I read several times, even though I've never read the rest of its series, though I have it now. The rest of the series is the River World series. The book I read is To Your Scattered Bodies Go. Excellent book, worth reading more than once. But here we have The Green Odyssey, which I'd never heard of before, and it doesn't appear to be part of the River World series. It goes back to 1957. And that's like pitifully tiny print. Holy smokes. Look at that print. That's like teeny tiny. Alan Green is not exactly a hero. In fact, he likes peace and quiet just as well as the next man. Not that he is really afraid of that crazy hot-blooded hound dog Alzo, or even of the hound's equally hot-blooded owner, the beautiful Duchess Zuni. After all, on his backward, violent planet, a man can manage nicely, provided he is alert 24 hours a day. The trouble with Alan is that he's tired and homesick. So when he hears of 2 other damned spacemen from Earth, he hitches a ride with the greedy merchant captain on a wind roller destined to carry him to their spaceship. What he isn't prepared for are the vagaries of the wind roller, pirates, the traveling islands that devour everything in their path, and the flora and fauna peculiar to this planet. In order to make it to the spaceship alive, it seems that Alan Green may have to be a hero after all. The Green Odyssey. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And it's a little book, so even if it's not a lot of fun, it's only 152 pages. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But that print, oh my god. I'm going to have to read it with a magnifying glass. That's all there is to that. That is so tiny. I wish I'd noticed that before I bought it. Anyway, that's my book haul, y'all. And as always, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Give a thumbs up, because giving a thumbs up does help the channel. It changes algorithms way back in the workings of YouTube out there somewhere. And also leave comments. I try to answer every single comment that comes through. Get a conversation started. Do you know anything about any of these books? Have you read them? Do you want to read them? Do they remind you of other books that you want to read or have read? Anything. How's the weather where you are? Any conversation. Just leave a comment. And I've enjoyed this time we've had together. Oh, sorry, that's Carol Burnett. I've enjoyed being here again, just chatting about books. And that, y'all, is my book haul. Talk to you again later. Bye.